Okay, so I don't know next week ano naman matabo sa aton. No, okay, so I know that I hope that all of you are safe no kung na may duty man kamo kagina sa RLE or you have classes in sa school nato no. No, so I hope that wala man may nabalian sa inyo or nag-ano kamo dira once sang gin-announce nila no nga there's a bomb threat na in our school. No? So, sige lang. No? We just keep on praying na nga safe lang gid kita na in our everyday journey na in nursing na kag asa aton nga everyday nga aton nga life no so we keep on praying na nga safe lang gid kita permi. Okay, so I think we have done discussing about your nutritions, correct? Am I correct? We finished your nutritions class.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So now we will be touching si Bryce Alingalan. Okay, kindly tell her, him, si
Sir,
Alingalan.
may problem daw iya subong nga ang iya nga IDC nga account.
Alright,
So, ang
sige, sige.
itong ginagamit niya.
Okay, sige. I will, i-ano ko lang siya. I-accept ko lang siya. Di na siya man. Waiting. O sige, i-admit ko lang si Bryce. Sige. Okay. So, we're going to discuss now the legal and ethical issues of the aged person. Okay, so if you have noticed that I have skipped the number 4, which is your drugs. Okay, so ang drugs nga na, it's just only a what do you call this? It's just only a refresher for all of you nasa regarding with the drugs nasa sa pharmacology nyo na nakuha nyo na in nga drugs. So just note the effects of the drugs if you are taking that kind of medicines na that classifications of medicines. So you just have to take note kung ano ang iyang mga changes na in our body, especially when the elderly is the one who is taking that kind of medicines. No? So it will not come out in the exams. It will not come out in the exams because I know that is so basic. No? But I am very particular with your the first few slides na group of slides nga gin-take up naton in the beginning na sa implementations, communications, and with your nutritions and this legal ethical issues of the aged person. So you have to take a particular attention to this because most of the questions in your final exams is taken from this slides. Okay, and I have already posted your SDL for your geriatric nursing. So what are you going to do with your SDL? I have the instructions there na in our G classrooms na and when are you going to submit that, in what format are you going to submit that. Okay, so I will not require you if it is a landscape, it is a portrait, it is a legal, it is a A4 size of bond paper, a folio, but as long as it is a PDF format. So what are you going to do is you don't have to submit physically na the hard copy of that. So i-turn in nyo lang ang inyong soft copy because I will be checking that on the date na of your submissions. So take note of the date of the submissions kung saan o ina siya na i-submit. Okay, and then I think we have not yet discussed your implementations. As what I have said, if we have time, na if we have time, I will have to run through with your implementations and with your communication. So most probably by next week, if um, uh, it would be a fine day for us. Now, so I will be meeting you F to F because I will be giving a quizzes. When I say quizzes, it's several quizzes. No? So it might be a pre-test, a mid-test, or a post-test, or it could be a um, evaluative a quiz, or it could be a summative quiz. All right. So I will give you quizzes on next week. No? So after that, I will give the final coaching or the final instructions on what are you going to do with your final examinations. So this is the last topic that we are going to discuss. Na? And as what I have said, by next week, if we still have time, I still have to meet you F to F, and we are going to run through with your implementations and with your communications. Okay? Sige. So, para dire-diretso na lang kita, na? So I have to start with my discussions with your legal and ethical issues of the aged persons. Okay, sige. So we have here your legal issues. Now we have your act of negligence, malpractice, and your omissions, your torts, your commissions, omissions. So those are legal issues that is being encountered by most of us nurses. Now when we had our professional duty. Okay, so when we say here, when we say negligence here, so this is what we call a failure. So this is a failure not to exercise adequate care. So it refers to a commissions and omissions of an act pursuant to a duty that a reasonable, prudent, remember the word prudent person in the same or similar circumstances would or would not do, acting or non-acting of which is the proximate cause of injury to another person's of his property. If you have to internalize the meaning of negligence, this is just a simple terms wherein if someone doesn't act with the level of care that a reasonable person would in a similar situation. So this can involve now both doing something carelessly, and that is what we call commissions. You commit something but you are careless. And so ginhimo mo ina siya nga butang pero sa hindi insakto, sa hindi maayo, or failing to do something that should have been done na. So that is what we call your omission. Failing to do something that you should have been done. Dapat amuni ang dapat mo nga obrahon pero wala mo maobra. That is what we call your omissions. So mixing the commissions and the omissions, it will create what we call your negligence. So there are four elements of negligence. Number one elements of negligence is your duty. So when we say duty, this is our professional duty. This is our duty. There must be a duty of care owed to another persons. That means you have the relationship with your patients. You have the responsibility to do your job, to do your duty kung anong dapat nga himuon nimo sa imo pasyente. Number two key elements, breach. Breach. Paano sila ang breach? So, there is what we call a violation through an act of failure to act. Okay? So, kung siling ka nga may ara ka nga duty and responsibility, ang hindi mo paghimo sa imong nga duty and responsibility, that is a form of breach. You are breaching your responsibility to your client. You are breaching your responsibility to your patients. Okay? And another is what we call your proximate cause. What is the cause of being not taking care of that particular individuals or clients or patients? What is the cause? Ano ang result sina? So that is another element. So the breach must directly lead to injury or damage. So may ara bala nga injury because you forget to do something, you forget to do this particular responsibility, to this particular duty, may ara bala nga damage or effect ina sa pasyente mo. That is what we call your proximate cause. Another is injury or damage. So there must be actual harm suffered. So kilanglan, because of your negligence, may ara na siya nga consequences. So what do you call this? It inflict some actual harm, or your patient suffered because of your negligence, because sang imo nga kapabayaan. So remember these four key elements of negligence: duty, breach, proximate cause, and your injury, or what we call damage. Okay? So the slide also mentioned here about the prudent person. So what is a prudent person na naman? So when we say prudent person, we generally mean that someone who acts with a reasonable care. You have the foresight and a good judgment in a particular situation. So you are a prudent, or you are considered as a prudent person if, okay, may foresight ikaw, may knowledge ikaw, may good judgment ikaw, you are in your sound mind. So you are prudent. Amo nang ginatawag nila nga prudent person. So this concept is also used in a legal and an ethical context to establish a standard of behavior. So amo na siya magkinatawag naton nga negligence. Okay, next. If a person charged with negligence shows that she meets or even surpasses the standard, then there is no negligence or carelessness. But if the defendants fail to meet the standard, then there has been negligence. So how do we explain this one? So meeting or exceeding the standard. So if a person demonstrates that their actions are equal to or better than what a reasonable, prudent persons would have done in the same situations, they are not considered negligent. Okay, so just a very simple. So the core idea of negligence is actually the failure to act with reasonable care. Okay, next. Failing to meet the standard. Kay kung may ara kita nga care, may ara kita nga duty, may ara kita nga ginatawag na SOP, may ara kita nga standard. So conversely, if a person actions fall short or what a reasonable, prudent person would have done, they may be found negligent. Kung wala ina mahimo, that means negligent na siya yaya sa part sang sang nurse. Okay? And negligent na siya yaya nga batasan sang nurse towards your patient. Okay? So that is what we call your negligence. Okay, next. Hold on. Okay. Elements of professional negligence. So actually, this is your key elements of your professional negligence. Like your duty, as what I have said, your duty, your breach, your cause, and of course the damage that is being caused by your negligence. So when we say elements of professional negligence here. So ano ang naman ang mag-explain kita sang sini. So duty of care, existence of a duty on the part of persons charged to use due care under circumstances. So that is your duty of care. That is your duty. A professional must have a legal duty to exercise reasonably towards the plaintiff or towards your client. So this duty exists when a professional-client relationship is being established. So when you have already the rapport between you as a nurse and a client, may ara ka na nga duty dira nga gina-establish. Okay? And obligating the professional to adhere to certain standards of conduct. So for example, a doctor owes a duty of care to their patients and a lawyer owes a duty to their client. So may ara sila yung responsibility, may ara sila yung duty towards sa ilang client or towards sa ilang patient. Number 2, failure to meet the standard of due care. And that is what we call your breach of duty. Failure mo na nga ma-meet ang standard of care. So the professional must fail to meet the expected standard of care. So this means that you acted in a way that a reasonable, competent professional in the same field would not have under similar circumstances. So example of your breach of duty. So this include if a surgeon making a mistake during an operations. Okay, so if the surgeon make a mistake during an operation, so that is what we call your breach of duty. Another, the foreseeability of harm resulting from failure to meet the standard. So when we say here foreseeability of harm, it must be foreseeable that the professional's failure to meet the standard of care could result in harm or injury to your client. So we as the professionals should have a reasonably known that their or our actions could lead to damages. So for instance, for example, a pharmacist dispensing a wrong medications should know if it could harm the patient. So dispensing a wrong medications, could it harm a patient? That is what we call your foreseeability of your harm. So, ano bala ang ma-foresee ni mo? Ano bala ang matabo sa pasyente mo kung gintagaan mo siya sa wrong medications? And then, of course, your causation. So, the fact that the breach of this standard resulted an injury to the plaintiff or what we call your client. Okay, so causation, now there must be a direct causal relationship between the breach of duty and the injury suffered by the plaintiff. It must be proven that professionals, negligence directly caused the injury. So for example of this causation, if a structural engineer, engineer siya, negligently approves a faulty building designs that leads to a collapse and subsequent injuries, their negligence is a direct cause. Okay? So kung for example, ikaw as a nurse, nag-duty ikaw sa geriatric ward and you forget to raise the side rails, to raise the side rail of the patient, and it caused the patients to fall kag nabuklan siya. Okay? Or na-injured siya ang iyang head, that is your negligence. Okay? And the damages, of course, an injury, so it must have suffered actual damages or injury as a result of the professional negligence. So ano ang damage diri sa elderly naton ka nadagdag siya sa cut-tree, no? So nagbukol ang iya nga ulo, no? Nagbuka ang iya nga ulo, no? So that is a form of damages or injury, and that is negligence. Remember, class, that professional negligence is often called malpractice. Na? So, when we say malpractice, ara na siya, sunod naton nga i-discuss ang malpractice. Okay? So, next. So, common acts of negligence, burns resulting from hot water bags, heat lamps, vaporizers, seats, butts. It is your negligence as a nurse because nga nasunog iya nga buli because you never check no, kung tama gid man kainit ang water, no, or ang water bags. Okay? Objects left inside the patient's body such as sponges, suction tips, loose dentures lodged in the patient's trachea. That is also your negligence. So if the doctor left any of the instruments no, that he or she used during the operations no, inside the body of the patients, that is what we call your negligence. Falls of children whose side rails of beds were not pulled up and locked. That is also a form of negligence. Failure to observe and take appropriate actions as needed. Falls of the elderly, confused, unconscious, sedated patients, or those who are not fully recovered from anesthesia. So this is a form of your negligence. No? Prudent, tandaan ha, prudent persons can do this. Okay, so here are some specific examples of negligence. You just read it. Na, kaya muna siya ang mga specific examples na nga nagakatabo sa aton nga clinical setting or clinical area. Okay, defects in the equipments. Na? So even the defects of the equipments. Na, ang mga cut-tree dira nga wala sang stopper. Na? So base pag silo sang aton nga elderly going to her bed, no, wala gali sang stopper, wala sang lock gali, naglakat ang cut-tree niya. Okay, so ano siya, nahulog siya, natumba siya because of that, no, or errors due to family assistance or administrations of medicines without a doctor's prescription. So that is a negligence. So now we go to your malpractice. Sa ano naman ang ibig sabihin sa malpractice? Na ara, kailangan makabalo kita sini kung ano ang ginatawag naton nga malpractice. So malpractice, this is a negligence on the part of a professional. Remember, professional person in providing care to another person. So we have 4 conditions just as the same as your negligence. Na may ara kita duty, may breach kita or failure to meet that duty, there is what we call your causations, okay, and there is what we call your damage. Okay, so magsiling ka nga malpractice, it is done by a professionals. So kung magsiling kaya nga negligence, na pwede ang imo, pwede ang ano ganina ang orderly naton nakasala siya, no, that is also negligence. Okay, but kung may lisensya na kita ka nagsala kita, it is a form of negligence, but it will be counted as your malpractice. So it is more on the higher level siya na professional person. Ang negligence, it can be done by a prudent person. May good judgment, may good idea, may good sight siya. Okay? Ang sa malpractice naman, may lisensya siya. Buha? Na? So, muna siya ang contrast between your negligence and your malpractice. And remember, when you commit malpractice, you are doing something that is out of your scope. No? Kung hindi mo na na-scope nga obrahon, kagin obra mo ina, that is what we call your malpractice. Because you are a professional, na professional, ikaw nga nurse, ginobra mo, mawala sa imo nga scope, no? That is malpractice. Like for example, you do your prescriptions. Okay? Hindi bala we nurses, wala kita ga-prescribe. You do your prescriptions and there is you prescribe to the patients, and pag prescribe mo may natabo sa pasyente pa bakal sang bulong ka nag-inom sang bulong, no, malpractice na ang ikaso sa inyo. Okay? Because it is not your scope now to prescribe a medication. Okay? Another examples, we don't suture. Diba? So kung ara ka sa OR or I mean sa DR, di ba la nag-episiotomy na, and then the doctor will tell you to do your episiotomy. So gintahi mo. Okay? Pagtahi mo dito, wala ka kabalo nga may nabilin pagidgali nga dapat tani tayon na but ninabilin ikaw dira nga wala mo makita kag there is something happen sa inyong nga pasyente, then you will be accused of your malpractice. Okay, so tandaan ha, negligence, prudent person, ang malpractice, it is the professional person doing that. Okay, so it is a proper or unskillful care of a patient by a nurse. It denotes stepping beyond one's authority with serious consequences. Okay, and it refers to negligent act committed in the course of professional performance. Okay, now we go to omissions. So when we say omissions, okay, do you have any questions? Can you understand between the negligence and malpractice class? Class. Okay, sige. Do you have any questions? If you have any questions, please interrupt me. Okay? Kay mga legalities, ini mga plangga. Legalities ini. So, when we do our professional duty na, so be mindful of the legal issues and mga unethical issues natin. Okay, next is your omissions. Ano ganing hambal natin sa omissions? When we say omissions, so it occurs when something is being omitted that is ordered or expected as a normal part of the treatment of the clients. So omission in a professional context, it refers to the failure to perform an act or procedure that is required or expected part of a client's treatment. Okay. So dapat tani nga amuni ang aton himuon. Pero wala mo ina mabuhat. That is what we call your omission. Okay? So it involves neglecting to do something that should have been done. Dapat tani obrahon mo pero wala mo maobra. That is what we call omission. Okay? So, because of this omission, it could potentially lead to a negative consequences for the client. Okay? So, in short, omission is a failure to act when action is necessary or expected. Okay? So, in healthcare, it means not carrying out unnecessary interventions or treatment. Example of omission. Okay? Common example includes administering prescribed medications, but you neglect to order necessary diagnostic tests or not providing appropriate follow-up care. Okay? Failing to administer prescribed medication. The supposedly, dapat ihatag mo ini nga medication sa imong pasyente, pero you forget to give these medications. That is what we call your omissions. So when you have omissions, it will cause you to have negligence. Kuha? Since you have negligence and you are professional, you commit malpractice. Tandaan nyo ha, galuping lang ina siya. Okay? But the first thing na ikaso sa imo is omissions. And if you are proven guilty, then most probably you will be charged of negligence. Okay, another. Neglecting to order necessary diagnostic tests. Okay? So wala mo siya yaging pa-laboratory nga supposedly ipa-laboratory mo siya kaya mo naging order sa doktor na lipatan mo ya nga ipa-laboratory si lola or si lolo. That is what we call also your omission. Okay? And not providing appropriate follow-up care. Okay? Especially during your discharge planning. Diba lang, mag-discharge planning, may ara dira nga follow-up check-up. But, you forget or you forgot to tell the client or even the folks of the client that your patient should have a follow-up on this specific date. That is also a form of omissions. Okay? So, ano ang consequence if you commit omissions? No? So, omissions can lead to delayed diagnosis, untreated conditions, it worsens the health, and preventable complications or even death to your client. Remember that, class. Huh? So, simple lang nga omissions, it could lead to harm. So, when there is a harm, you breach your responsibility because you have the duty. May ara accusations, may ara nga damage, then negligence. Okay? As simple lang na nga omission. Ha? Okay. Next, we go to your, intindihan nyo class, ha? Basta wala mo ma-perform nga dapat i-perform mo ina siya, that is what we call your omission. Okay, next, torts. So this is a legal wrong committed against a person's property independent of a contract which renders the person who commits it liable for damages in a civil action. When we say civil action here, it is with another person. Tandaan ha, civil action, pag magsiling ka gani nga civil crime, you commit a crime with another person. Magsiling ka gani nga criminal crime. Okay? Criminal. When we say ka gani nga criminal, it means that you may na misunderstood or may na miss ikaw nga law. Okay? May wala kagin pati nga law. That is what we call your criminal. Magsiling ka nga administrative. Okay? Administrative crime. Tandaan mo ninyo ini nga tatlo ha. Administrative crime. When we say administrative crime means nga may ginlabag ikaw, may ginviolate ikaw sa standard or sa SOP nyo in your administration. Tandaan nyo na ha, civil crime, criminal crime, and administrative crime. In torts, it is more on the civil crime or civil actions. Means you have created something wrong on another person. So the person who has been wrong seeks compensation for the injury or wrong he has suffered from you as a wrongdoer. So acts by a nurse performed with the intent to bring about specific result. That is your torts. So we have different kinds of torts here. One is assault and another is battery. So I think you have already understand when we say assault and when we say battery. When we say assault, you are attempting, but you never do any physical harm. Wala kasang body contact diri. Assault lang, threatening. Na? So, you are attempting or threat to injure another person. Ha? So, kung magsiling ka, ay karon bunon ta ka, that is assault. Okay? Battery, on the other hand, now this is unwanted or unconsented physical contact. So it is intentional, unconsented touching of another person. That means may ara na siya nga body contact. So ginbuno mo na siya, that is what we call your battery. Okay, can you understand between the two, the assault and the battery, na in the form of torts? Okay, assault, wala pa physikalan. Battery, ara na may physikalan na. Okay. False imprisonment or illegal detentions. Ano naman iniya? Na? Gin priso muya ang isa ka tawo. No? It is unjustifiable detention of a person without a legal warrant within boundaries fixed by the defendant by an act or violations of duty intended to result in such confinement. Okay? Ano naman iniyaya ang ginatawag naton nga false imprisonment? Like for example, gingaid mo ang pasyente, ginrestrain mo ang pasyente without doctor's order to restrain the patient. That is a false imprisonment or illegal detention. Ginkulong mo ya ang pasyente sa isa ka kwarto kinalingan ikaw. That is also a false imprisonment or illegal detentions. Okay? Na, tandaan nyo na, class, ha? Next, we have here your invasions of right to privacy and breach of confidentiality. So, self-explanatory, invasion of right to privacy. Na, ginsulod mo yan ang pribado niyang kabuhi. Na? And you breach, naging guba mo niya ang iyang confidentiality. Na? Ang iya, remember, we have data privacy. Okay, so the tie to privacy is the right to be left alone, the right to be free from unwarranted publicity and exposure to public view, as well as the right to live one's life without having anyone's name, picture, or private affairs made public against one's will. Excuse me. Okay, so for example, di ba sa clinical setting, you are not allowed to take pictures. Now, ano natabo? Naging picture-picturean mo ang pasyente. Okay? Kaginbutang siya sa social media. Na? Gin pa FB mo siya together with you. No? Nga may ara, kamo nag-picture-picture, kamo nga duwa. Remember class, that is invasions of right to privacy and breach of confidentiality because it's a no for us nurses to post any pictures of our patients. You are breaching the confidentiality of your patient. Okay? That's why, kumadakpan ikaw, gani, no, may 100 ikaw or sobra nga extension. So, maski diin ka, no, hindi ginaya dapat mapa-picture-picture. Okay? May ara nga mga nurses, so may mga ara mga volunteers sa hospital kung kaisa nga, okay, they are so excited, no, nga they performed first procedure, no, nga do bag-ulan na nila na nahibaluan nga procedure, so picture sila, no, mag-IV sa pasyente, pa-picture sila sa pasyente. Okay? Kag i-post na yun sa FB or i-post nila sa social media platform. It's a no class. Ha? That is invasions of privacy. Pwede kagid inaiyama kasuhan. Okay. Now we go to your defamations. So defamation is a written or a spoken communications that holds a person's up to ridicule or scorn and tends to harm his or her reputation. So character of assassinations, be it written or spoken, and we have two kinds of defamations. Libel, that is what we call your written defamations, and slander, that is spoken defamations. When we say, no, iniligay non defamations, ginbuyayaw mo ang isa ka tao. Libel means in the forms of writing. Slander in the forms of verbal. Okay? Amo nang ginaiya ang explanation. It's a self-explanatory. Basta ginyaw-yaw mo, no, in terms of written, okay, libel, ina siya nga wala man ka matuuran. Okay? Ginyaw-yaw mo siya through verbal. Na wala man si kamatuuran. That is what we call your slander. Okay? Do you have any questions so far, class? May ara questions? Okay, sige. Then we go to your elder abuse and neglect. Okay, hapos lang git iniya yan. No? So it's a self-explanatory ang elder abuse and neglect. No, from the word itself, abuse, ginabuso mo. Neglect. Gineglect mo. Especially if for example, wala ang pabayaan mo na bala, neglect, no? Yung pabayaan mo na si lola kasi lola wala mo na ginapaisla, wala mo na paliguan, that is neglect. So elder abuse can be defined as a single or repeated act or lack of appropriate actions occurring within a relationship where there is an expectations of trust which causes harm or distress to an older person. Okay, so that is your elder abuse and neglect. So there are types of elder abuse. You have your neglect, physical abuse, sexual abuse, abandonment, emotional or psychological abuse, financial abuse, and self-neglect. So we're going to take this one by one. No? So when we say neglect here, no, the refusal or failure to fulfill a caretaking obligations, including excluding a conscious and intentional attempt to inflict physical or emotional distress on the older persons. Elder neglect happens when a caregiver fails to protect an older adult from harm, resulting in serious injuries or illnesses. Cases of elder in nursing homes neglect are not honest accidents. Rather, they are the result of carelessness or a lack of regard for an older person's health. So, usually, ang neglect, it happens sa mga facilities naton. No? So, ginapabayaan na lang naton ang aton nga mga lola kag lolo. No? So, for example, wala na naton ginapaliguan. So, what will happen? No? Mahigo na sila. They can harbor easily sa mga infections and mga diseases. So, kung ang ina no nga actions of a nurse in the facilities could lead to harm, no, pwede ginaiyan naton nga mahambal nga the elderly are being neglected by the caregivers or the staff in the facilities. Okay? Next, signs of elder neglect. Of course, dehydration, ipabayaan na natin siya. Galiniwang na siya, malnutrition, inadequate or unclean clothing, as what I have said. Lack of food in the home, long-term care facilities. Wala na siya ginapakaon. Okay, lack of needed medical aids. Wala na siya ginabulong. Di ba? Wala siya ginabaklang bulong. Poor personal hygiene, unclean or unsafe home, long-term care facilities, unpaid bills, no, untreated infections or injuries, and even weight loss. No? So that is a form of elder neglect. So if the elderly will come to your clinic or come to the emergency room, no, find for all this as a symptom, as signs, no, and that is a form of neglect. No, try to probe, no, what happened to the elderly, and most probably, ang elderly is being neglected. Okay, neglect can lead to serious health problems, including bed sores, sepsis, and even death. So, unfortunately, neglect a particular high risk in assisted living facilities with staffing issues. So, kung for example, na bed sores na si Lola, na may negligence ikaw dira. Okay, kaya wala mo yaya ginatanaw. Wala mo yaya ginapahulag-hulag si Lola or si Lolo every 2 hours. No? Every 2 hours dapat pahulag-hulagon siya para nga ang ventilations nami ang ventilations dira. No? So if it could lead to bed sores or infections, then there is a form of neglect to the elderly. And pwede kagid makasuhan nga sang omissions. Omissions, if there is a doctor's order pero wala mo ginhimo, that is omissions. Okay? Neglect. Kaya nga, it causes harm to your patient. Okay? It causes bed sores. Now, we go to physical abuse. When we say physical abuse, syempre, ara na makita mo na sa lawas kung may ara daya yung mga bruises, no, or anything, no? So, any action that causes physical pain or injury. So, physical elder is intentional use of force against an elderly person, no? It includes hitting, shoving, kicking, or physical restraining an older adult. So, this is a form of your physical abuse. Restraining without doctor's order, it is a form of physical abuse, but you will be liable for false imprisonment or illegal detentions. Okay? Na physical abuse na. Signs of physical elder abuse, makita mo may mga cuts or scrapes sa iyang lawas, broken bones, nabalian siya, na bruises, burns, dislocated joints, head injuries, and sprains. So, kung magkadto ang elderly sa inyo, sa emergency rooms, sa emergency room, nga may mga broken bones, may mga pasa, may mga cuts, no? May mga bali-bali, hindi lang pag i-treat nga daw siling mo medical conditions lang ina siya because of osteoporosis, you dig out, no, you probe, i-probe ka, ask questions hasta nga maghambal ang elderly nga ginabuso siya, ginsakit siya sang relatives niya or ginsakit siya sang caregivers niya. Okay, so these are the signs of your physical elder abuse. So there are also signs beyond the injuries themselves that could mean an older person has suffered from physical abuse. So we have a pattern of hospitalization for the same similar injury. So pabalik-balik sila sa emergency room with the same mangyapon nga chief complaint. Delayed medical care for an injury. Okay? So kung nabalian si Lola, wala na ginsapak ina siya. Wala na gin sapak, wala na siya ginpakadto sa orthopedic or ginpakadto sa emergency, ginpa delay pa. No? So that is also a form of physical abuse. Poor explanations from the elder's injury from the care providers. So ang care providers to hindi mapatihan na amo na nga hambal niya. No? So wala ka may makuha nga insakto na nga data nga information sa caregiver or sa providers, so you suspect of physical abuse. Trips to different emergency rooms because not to avoid a possibly suspicions. So nag-emergency hopping, nag-hospital hopping siya. So for example, because of the physical abuse, masakit si Lola, gindulong siya sa Iloilo Doctors Hospital. Dugay-dugay naman, napuli na sila, sa balay naman nila, gisakit na naman siya. No? So, nagpangluya naman si Lola, gindala na naman sa St. Paul's Hospital. Hospital hopping sila kay para nga hindi mabalaan, no? Kag hindi sila pagsuspitsyohan nga ginaabuso nila ang tigulang. So these are the signs beyond the injuries that you can detect that your elderly has been physically abused. Okay? So we have here also psychological, emotional abuse. So self-explanatory, no? Psychological, sa ulo niya, no, sa cognitive aspect niya, emotional sa ilang emotions. So emotional abuse can take many forms. For example, caregivers may belittle elders, call their names or threaten them. But it's not just name calling. Caregivers may even cut off older people from loved ones or resources. No, so that is also emotional abuse, especially those nga ara sa facilities No? So kung magkatuga ni ilang nga relatives, ang elderly nga ni wala ginapa istorya sa ilang nga relatives. That is what we call your emotional abuse. That is also psychological abuse. So matingala na si lola kasi lolo nga wala gid may nagabisita sa akon. So gina-torture mo ang iya nga psychological aspect. Gina-torture mo ang iya nga emotional aspect. And that is a psychological or emotional abuse. So here are the signs of your psycho and emotional abuse. Appearing depressed, withdrawn or scared, avoiding eye contact, different eating or sleeping patterns, no? Isolate from friends or families, low self-esteem, mood swings, na and sudden change in behavior and personality. So, kung makita mo ini siya sa elderly, na may ara siya yung mood swing, nagawalain-lain ang iyang mood in a day, na may ara siya yung diurnal mood swing, and may ara siya mga nocturnal mood swing, no, galain-lain ina siya. So you can suspect that there is a psychological or even emotional abuse. Financial material abuse, okay? So there is a financial material abuse, of course, by the means of money. No, sa kwarta na ni. So the illegal or improper exploitations and use of funds and resources. So elder financial abuse is the illegal, unauthorized, or improper use of an older individual's resources. So nursing home staff, family, or even strangers can all commit elder financial abuse. So ginagamit mo yaya ang kwarta ni lola kag ni lolo, no, in your own expense, no, in your own interest, no. So wala mo yaya ginapatilaw si lola kasi lolo sa ilang kwarta. So that is also what we call your financial abuse. So there are warning signs of elder financial abuse, no, a pattern of missing belongings or property. Ang kulintas ni lola ka ang iyang mga singsing diin, no? So when during admissions may ara siya, pero ginkuha mo niya. So that is what we call your financial abuse also. Property kag sa money sang elderly. An elderly person who doesn't know or understand their own financial situation can sell checks or bank statements that go to someone or other than the elder. Ang mugid niya yan, no? Sometimes nagkakatabuin ni siya, especially if ang elderly damo-damo kwarta sa bangko, no? They have to create a power of attorney nga si lola ko na naghambal nga ang iya kwarta ihalin sa iya na. That is also a financial abuse, no? Changes on older person's power of attorney or bank accounts na kay man silo among damo ginaya katabo, na especially for those relatives nga nag-take care sa mga lola kasi mga lolo nga damo kwarta, no, they try to transfer the money of the elder of the elderly, I mean, na sa ila nga possessions, na by means of the power of the attorney. Na, amo na siya, financial abuse na. Okay, eviction notices, evidence of unpaid bills, summons showing unusual interest in how much money an elder is spending, and withdrawals the elders could not have made. Okay? Then sexual elder abuse, of course, na here, sexual activity. No? So gina-rape si lula, gina-rape man si lolo, or gina-molest. No? So those are sexual activities that is na tawag na ginahimo, no, done to our elderly. Okay, so especially those who have Alzheimer's, those who have dementia, kati hindi na sila yaya kabalo kung anong ginahimo mo dira iya, no, sa ila. No, that is a sexual elder abuse. So here are the warning signs of elder abuse. No, may bleeding from the anus or genitals. No, so kung magkadto na siya ang inyong elderly, no, kanaga grimace ang face niya. So pamangkuton diin ang masakit lola, lolo diin. So kung may ara siyang masakit sa iyang buli or sa iyang genitals, so try to check if there is bleeding. It might be a sexual abuse. Bruise in the genitals or inner thighs. No, may ara siya, naka-acquire siya sang STDs or STIs, or pain in the anus or genitals, or pelvic injuries, or even problems walking or sitting. No, kung may mga gait problems bagid siya, so you have to check And you have to prove whether naka-experience or may natabo sa ilas sexually. Okay? Na, tandaan na siya. Elders can be sexually abused by anyone, including nursing home staff, residents, home caretakers, friends, and family members. Okay? Next, elder self-neglect. Alright? Self-neglect happens when an elderly person is no longer able to meet their basic daily needs and they suffer as a result. No? So kung hindi na sila ka-perform sa ilang ADLs, no? Ila na naiya, self-neglect na nila. So hindi na nila ma-perform o ma-function sa ADLs nila. So as a staff, no, we will be the one to help them, no, to perform their ADLs. So that is a form of elder self-neglect. So an older person may be suffering with self-neglect if they can't drink or feed themselves without help, dress themselves, maintain basic hygiene, maintain their homes, manage financial affairs, or properly address their medical needs. So many older adults struggle with letting go of the independence of acknowledging that they may not be able to care for themselves. So for those who cannot perform their ADLs. However, if an older person has caregivers or lives in a nursing home, then self-neglect should not be occurring. In these cases, a caregiver may be committing neglect. Okay? So kung sa balay lang si Lola, pwede gid naton nga may ara self-neglect. Pero kung ara sa facilities, hindi pwede nga may self-neglect si Lola because the responsibility of the staff in the facilities is to become the advocate, become the assistant, the one who assists, no, sa ADLs ni Lola kang ni Lolo na i-perform. Na kilanglan wala iya sa self-neglect sa facilities kay may ara caregiver kag staff. Elder abandonment. So, gin-abandon ang aton nga mga elder. So, sometimes paired with neglect, elder abandonment happens when someone who cares for an older person intentionally deserts them. Now, the former caretaker may leave the elder at a hospital, nursing home, or another care facilities without any formal arrangement or with relatives who did not agree to be caregivers. Okay? Na ano namang elder abandonment, ibilin sa facilities kag hindi na pagbalik-balikan. That is a form of abandonment. Gin pa hospital pero hindi mangako ang nagdulong sa hospital ang mga relatives na sila ang mabantay. That is also a form of elder abandonment. Someone may be the victim of elder abandonment if they are alone na, and appear confused, lost, or scared and have a poor hygiene, na, seem frail, malnourished, or dehydrated. So regardless of the situation, elder abandonment can lead to a great deal of confusions and pain and put their physical health at risk. Okay, so that is elder abandonment. Okay, so how are we going to prevent abuse? So simply lang, increase public awareness and knowledge of the issue, promote education and training to professionals and paraprofessionals in identification, treatment, and prevention. Ang mga paraprofessionals, these are called yung mga allies, mga allied healthcare teams. Okay? Ang mga ano yung mga elderly ninyo, mga orderly ninyo, mga nursing aid ninyo. So those are your paraprofessionals. Then, to further advocacy on behalf of abuse and neglect orders, to study into the causes, consequences, prevalence, treatment, and preventions of older abuse and neglect. So these are self-explanatory. No? Study the cause, the consequence, ano kalala ang ina nga abuse, okay? How often it is happening, okay? No? So you have to know about that. Then advance, now we go to some of the directives sa aton nga mga elderly. So we have here your advanced directives. So these are written statements of a person wishes regarding medical care. So it is a formal, legally endorsed document that provide instructions for care, or what we call your living will, or names a proxy decisions maker, durable power of attorney. When we say advanced directives, so before they will be admitted in the hospitals na may ara kita nga ginatawag nga advanced directives. So magsinig kang advanced directives, wala pa naman tabo sa imo, depende sa imo kung ano ang himuon, kung matabo ini sa imo, ano ang dapat nga himuon sa imo. Like for example, na so kung ara ako sa 50-50 nga stage, hindi na ko pag-resuscitate. That is what we call your advance directives in the form of DNR. No? Do not resuscitate. Okay? So magsiling ka naman nga, kung ENGT ako, na sa ulihi, hindi ako magpa-NGT. So that is your advance directives. So whatever plan of care nga para sa imo nga wala pa matabo, that is what we call your advance directives. Like your living will. A living will is a formal legal written document that can and should be put in place to ensure specific disorders are known about the types of medical treatments would or would not want. No? So, living will, as what I have said, no, kung pwede ka i-resuscitate when you are 50-50, no, gaagaw buhay ikaw kung pwede ka pa bala i-resuscitate or pwede ikaw pag i-NGT kung hindi ikaw kakaon. So that would be your living will. Imo na iya gusto sang buhi pa ikaw. That is what we call your living will. Okay? Also commonly referred to as an advance directive, as what I have said, na is used to spell out end-of-life medical care wishes like your DNR. A person can also use it to note its preferences about pain management, organ donations, and more. No, so pwede gid sila. Now, before I will die, I have to donate my organs. I have to donate my kidney, my eyes, and everything. So before sila mapatay, no, ginaoperahan na sila dayon na para pangwaon na ilang mga organs and preserve the organs for or to donate it, no, sa mga nagakinahanglan. So that is your living will. Now, living will is useful for both family as well as medical terms and doctors, and they can consult the living will if ever a person becomes incapacitated and unable to make decisions on his own. So it covers the following types of scenarios. So pwede gideya na ang living will nga ni pwede giniyaya nga i-transfer into the power of attorney na nga kung hindi na sila balaka ang cognitive, ang psychological aspect nila hindi na sila ka decide, no, may mga poor judgment na sila. Okay, so resuscitation, as what I have said, CPR and DNR. So if a person does or does not want to be intubated or resuscitated, no? So DNR is your do not resuscitate. Now, comfort care, palliative care, and pain management, especially if you are suffering for cancer. So, depende sa imo na kung pwede ka makakadto sa facilities na sa facilities in order to have your palliative care. Okay? So, tube feeding, no? Kung gusto mo pa yung mapa-tube feeding, kung hindi kayo kakaon, or gusto mo na lang yung nga hindi na lang kayo mapa-tube feeding, ulaton mo lang mapatay ka na lang. Okay? And mechanical ventilations, if you will be still attached to ventilator, na amo na siya ang mga living will ninyo. Okay? Organ tissue donation, as what we have said, or injection of your antibiotics, antiviral, kung pwede pa bala nga mapa-inject pa ikaw sang antibiotics o kung hindi na or stop na ang inyong medication. So that is your living will. That is your advance directives. Then power of attorney. So ang attorney na naman niya is ang muna niya ang may power nga maghambal sa or mag-decide na kung incapacitated ka na. Kung hindi ka nakabalo mag-decide, you have poor judgment, so ihambal mo na ni sa attorney nga amo ni dapat ang matabo sa akon na during my critical period. So that is your power of attorney. Okay, then now we go to your ethical issues. We have restraints. As what I have said, you are not allowed to restrain a person without a order of the physician. So presumed. No? So we have here your physical restraints and we have your chemical restraint. Magsiling ka nga physical restraint, no? Physically, no? Ginahigtan ikaw. No? So may ara, ikaw nga restrainer. na ginahigtan ikaw, no? 2 points, 1 points, or even 5 points or 4 points. Na? So kung magsiling ka nga 2 points lang, it's either ang imong lang nga tiil ang higtan, duha ka bilog nga tiil nimo ihigtan, or duha ka bilog nimo nga kamot ihigtan. Magsiling ka nga 1 point restraint lang, no, sa isa ang body mo lang ang ginahigtan. Pero kung 5 points, so duwa ka kamot, duwa ka tiil, kag sa body mo pa i-restrain. That is your 5 points. And you have responsibility if your patient is being restrained. From time to time, you have to check kay base ang restrainer hugot-hugot, kag it will cause injury sa ginhigtan mo nga parts sang lawas sang tao. No? So that is your responsibility. That is our responsibility. Kaya kung hindi, makasuhan naman kita sa negligence. Na? Okay. So that is your restraints. Do not resuscitate orders, but andyan na siya. Withholding and withdrawing treatment, okay? So it is the responsibility or it is the decisions of the patient whether to withhold or to withdraw the treatment. So iyagi na iya mahalin. Okay? Sa iyagi na iya mahalin ang decisions. But you have, as what I have said, you have to assess your patient if she or he is still in sound mind. Kung hindi, pwede gidya ang iyang relatives nga mag-decide sina or ang power of attorney. Once say withholding, i-hold anay. For example, may operation siya, i-withhold anay ang iyang operations, i-cancel, i-postpone anay. Withdrawing treatment, okay? So, naka-sign na siya consent for operations, pero after sina on the day of the operations, ipasulod na siya sa OR, no, nag-withdraw siya sa treatment operations. Pwede gid ina siya. Okay? Na assisted suicide or euthanasia. Now we go for the assisted suicide or euthanasia. When we say euthanasia, that is mercy killing. Na? So when we say assisted suicide, usually this is done by the doctor. So ang doktor na iyaya ang nagahimo. So gina-increase na, for example, ang mga medications or nagagamit siya sa medications na para nga amat-amat ikaw mapatay. Okay, so assisted suicide. So I will just explain this in our in a simple terms. Na? So just read kung ano dira ang nasulat. No? So, in a simple explanation, when we say euthanasia, that is a mercy killing, and we have different types of euthanasia. Like, for example, your assisted suicides or euthanasia, wherein the doctor is the one who is doing that. No? So, na-injikan ang pasyente sang tinatawag sila sang bulong, no? Nga amat-amat siya mapatay. Okay, so euthanasia, a doctor is allowed by law to end a person's life by painless means as long as the persons and their family agree. Na, dapat may ara kita nga informed consent. Remember that. Assisted suicide, a doctor assists an individual in taking their own life if the persons request it. Na, so, ang doctor ginaiya ang mga mot. Na, bastang may ara lang siya nga consent sa pasyente. Voluntary euthanasia. So when euthanasia is conducted with consent. Now, voluntary euthanasia is currently legal in this states, no, or in these places. Okay? Na, so kung may ara consent, ginatawag na siya nga voluntary euthanasia. That means ang pasyente nag-volunteer siya nga patyon siya. No, ba? No, kasakit, no? Euthanasia. Non-voluntary euthanasia, on the other hand, when euthanasia is conducted on a person who is unable to consent due to their current health conditions. Magsiling ka non-voluntary, it means na hindi siya incapacitated siya nga hambal, no? Nga maghatag sang consent nga ma-euthanasia siya. Now, so that is what we call your non-voluntary euthanasia. Unable to consent due to their current health conditions. Okay? Next, involuntary euthanasia. So when we say involuntary euthanasia, na, who would be able, this is performed on a person who would be able to provide informed consent but does not either because they do not want to die or because they were not asked. Okay? So magsiling ka naman nga involuntary euthanasia, no? Hindi pa sila gusto nga mapatay, gin. Patay mo na sila. Okay? Or wala sila ma-inform that you will be doing killing, mercy killing. That is what we call your involuntary euthanasia. So there are two procedural classification of euthanasia. One is passive. When you say passive, of course, by the help of another person. So if a doctor prescribe increasing doses of strong pain management medications, now such as opioids, this may be eventually too toxic for the individual. Some may argue that this is passive euthanasia. Others, however, would say this is not euthanasia because there is no intentions to take life. But this is a passive euthanasia. Kung may another persons who will do the euthanasia to a specific client or patient. Ano naman ang active? It is when someone uses a lethal substances or forces to end the person's life, whether by the individual themselves or somebody else. So when we say active euthanasia, it is more controversial and it is more likely to involve religious, moral, ethical, compassionate arguments. So during Sakay Ichigaray, if you can still remember, I don't know if you were born during the time si Ichigaray nga na I think daw ng rape siya bala, ano to siya. Ang case niya, naging lethal injection siya, gintagaan siya sang, kay ano pa to, may death penalty. No? Sa ulihin na lang ginkuha natin ang death penalty. So during that time, si Ichigaray, nang may death penalty, kado may ara siya nga grave nga offense. So siya ang pinakauna-unahan, ang pinakalas nga person nga chemical restraint. Okay? Ginpatay siya through injecting a lethal substances. Okay? Amo na siya. No? That is your active euthanasia. Okay? Medical decision making for a potential incompetent patient. Ang mga manok na nagpangayo na sa mga pagkaon, no? So sorry for that mga sound, no, kay ang akon nga brother is na mahilig sa mga manok. Okay, so if incompetent, identify appropriate proxy. If proxy is unavailable, the best medical judgment while locating proxy. So amo ni siya. No? So kung for example, incompetent abi ang tao or ang client or ang patients na, so mangita sila sa proxy na nga within the relatives man lang na pwede sila in behalf of the patient, sila ang mahambal, sila ang dusang decisions. Okay? Informed consent. So this is the very, very important thing, no? In every procedures that we do to our patients, kailangan may informed consent kita. Kaya kung balikan kita, may aray kita nga proof na nag-agree ang pasyente to do such procedures. That is what we call your informed consent. Okay, enteral feeding. Okay, when we say enteral feeding, I think we have already know what is enteral feeding. Now mag-insert kita sang tube directly to our stomach, to our gastric gastrointestinal tract, no? So that is what we call your enteral feeding. Or pwede git ina siya nga hindi ka magpa injections or hindi ka na magpa antibiotics, no? So that is in the forms of the enteral. Okay. Patient oppositions to placement. So placing the patient on nursing home based on a patient will. Nurse should remember the right of the patient as well as the caregiver. So when all approaches failed, contact outside source such as hospital ethics committee. Okay, so pwede gidjaya nga ang pasyente hindi sa yaya maupo siya na idalon siya sa nursing home. No? So, pwede gid ina iya because our patient has a Bill of Rights and you have to know the rights of the patient and actually gina-orient giniya ang ato ng mga pasyente before they will do their admission process. Okay? So, that's the end of our discussions for our legal and ethical issues.